Moving on to one of the softer leagues in the CHL, the WHL. We have to talk about, of course, the Twins. And I'm going to be pretty upset if they don't end up playing together in Iowa, Minnesota, both. But Riley Heidt, man, again, the one that we never thought we'd get after how our first two picks went. What can you say about this guy? He's speechless.
Once again, my internet. It's gonna do it. It's gonna get worse. It's just going.
Talk about Height. Talk about Height.
I will be streaming soon. Yep. So I'll just start talking, and I'm sure my internet will cut out. No one will hear anything. But here we go.
Height.
He is torching the WHL, and it's crazy because I still think he's on that team. He might be second or third points still, but the thing with him is so the way that they do the stats, I guess, is they do like shots on goal, and then they have like a little dash where it says like DS, where it says like dangerous shots. So like high danger scoring chances, basically. Every single shot that he's had this year has been a super high. Like he just, because of how smart he is and how well he reads defenses, and where he ends up popping up and where he ends up with the puck on his stick, it's always it's somewhere where he's going to have a chance to score. And he's not just a shooter. He obviously has an incredible shot, but he is a legit dynamic playmaker. But he is making so many plays happen for Prince George, even in games where they kind of get like shelled. He's still the one out there, just like very noticeable in a positive way. Obviously, he's lighting up the score sheet, as we all can see. Somehow isn't leading the team in points because what's his name? I don't know how to say his name. This kid that's going to get drafted this year, Karchich. I don't know how to say it, but another kid that's probably going to go first round now at this point. But he's dangerous. Like every time he's on the ice, he is going to have a scoring chance, whether it's himself or he's creating for someone else. The one thing that you have to say about it is you just want to see it more often on like at 5v5 or at even strength. A ton of his offense, at least the offense that they are converting on. Part of it is just they draw so many goddamn penalties and they're on the power play so often. But you definitely would like to see it more at even strength. Because I think like one of the games he had like 4 or 5 points and was still -1. That was like, well, that's impressive. But it's just because so much of the offense is coming on the power play. But again, another guy that the offense just comes in a variety of ways too. Like he's so good in transition off the rush. You know, when they are just like extended offensive zone time, whether it doesn't really matter, like he's creating offense and creating dangerous scoring chances for Prince George. And another one that like he has some nasty to his game, like not afraid, not just there to like get his cookies. He's there to like be a prick. And he'll generate points from wherever. Like he is often net front, just like getting into the shit. So he is so fun to watch. Still have no idea how he ended up late second round or so late in the second round even. But I mean, like really just like picking up where he left off last year in terms of like the point production. But that Prince George team, like they must be the highest scoring team in the dub right now because they are like lighting it up every fucking game. But he looks so dangerous.
Can you imagine?
I need him and Heidt to be best buddies too.
I also need now though Heidt versus Height in the Mem Cup. That would be unreal.
Oh yeah. In Saginaw.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Well, that's where it is.
Right. I said, why not? All right. I feel like most of our dub guys have graduated to the Iowa Wild, which everyone will be covering them next week a little bit more in depth. Wanted to spend a little bit extra time on them. But Z, who else do we have in the dub? Or are we moving on to one of the tougher and more skilled leagues in the QMJHL?
Got one more, Kalem Parker, who got traded from Victoria. Lucky for him, to Moose Jaw a couple weeks ago. Yeah. He looks good. Because of the fact that he plays defense and he's on the same team as Denton Matejchuk. Matejchuk's out there for about 35 minutes a game, getting most of the like advanced offensive minutes or like he's getting, but he does feature on that second power play unit, and he's an animal. But another kid is very good in transition, both offensively and defensively. He's got an absolute fucking howitzer of a slap shot. He's dangerous offensively. He's good. Like he'll create scoring chances from the blue line. He just doesn't play as often or as much or as many minutes as he normally would on any other team that doesn't have Dent Matejchuk. But there are times where those two are on the ice together too, and it's very fun. But he's super mobile, very smart player. Like, again, with that Victoria team, they didn't have a fucking chance in any of the games that they were playing, but he was like sort of a bright spot for them at times. But he's getting his looks now, and Moose Jaw is obviously a significantly better hockey team. He's like half a point per game, I think, last time I checked. But definitely a solid move for him, and just another like intriguing piece with like, we've said this about the Minnesota Wild prospect pool before. Part of the reason it was so good wasn't just because they had so many top end, high ceiling guys, but like a diverse prospect pool where you have like every skill covered at every position, every kind of like every archetype of player you have. And he's just another one that's very intriguing in terms of like long-term development. I'll be curious to see just how he can develop and what he turns into. But every time I talk about Kalem Park, I'm like, thank fucking God he's not in Victoria anymore. That team is brutal. But he looks good at his job in a limited role, relatively speaking.
It's better than it was. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Big progress.
My God.
We're making progress.
It's insane.
Do we have anyone in the strongest league in the CHL?
Strongest, toughest, most physical, most fights. Nope, no more. David Spacek graduated to the AHL. So we have no more guys in the queue. So that wraps up the
all right. Well, Judd Brackett, disappointed. We need to ramp up the Quebecois scouting. So whatever. We'll move on.